click the Super Thanks button below. Israel has reached a new milestone in its war with the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip. The IDF ground offensive, centered on Beit Hanun, continued until the terrorist sources in northern Gaza were completely under control. Today on the front lines, we can see that the IDF successes in the northern part of the Strip extend beyond Beit Hanun to Jabalia, Al-Shati, and even Zaytun. Most recently, after encircling Jabalia, IDF forces advanced through Al-Shati and reached Zaytun, where they destroyed the underground tunnels, headquarters, and camps and weapons depots of the Hamas terrorist organization. The secret of the Israeli army's successes is becoming clearer every day. The main reason for the IDF's ability to cover such large areas in northern and central Gaza and to advance so easily in these areas is intelligence. In addition to Shin Bet, Israel's domestic intelligence service, and Mossad, the foreign intelligence service, the IDF's military intelligence directorate has a unit specializing in human intelligence. Since the beginning of the war, this group, called Unit 504, has been interrogating residents of the Gaza Strip and gathering strategic information from the anti-Hamas faction. The IDF's Unit 504 reported that in recent days they have interrogated 300 Hamas terror activists and have been in constant contact with nearly 500 residents of Gaza. In the midst of the clashes, Unit 504 doubled its staff and created a new sub-unit specifically for southern Israel. This ensured that the IDF was informed of almost every move made by the Hamas terror group in the north and south of the Gaza Strip. Since this Israeli intelligence unit had dozens of Arabic-speaking personnel, field interrogations also moved quickly. In a statement, the IDF said that it had established a detention facility in southern Israel to interrogate detainees in the Gaza Strip. This allowed for a much clearer and faster flow of important information within the Israeli military. So far, the IDF reports that approximately 300 terror operatives and suspects from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and other terror groups have been brought to the facility for interrogation. The interrogated terrorists and suspects reportedly provided interrogators with the locations of Hamas's tunnel networks and weapons caches, as well as detailed information about the terror group's methods of operation, including the use of human shields. The spokesperson for the senior Unit 504 officer suggests that each investigation leads to the indictment of new facilities, and that the resulting human intelligence forms an integral layer of all intelligence units. Consistent with these statements, the IDF has released 3 videos in which detainees describe to Unit 504 interrogators the details of Hamas's use of hospitals for terrorist purposes. In the video, IDF intelligence units showed how they hid in Shifa and Rantisi hospitals, the Red Crescent building, and other medical centers, and how Hamas used these places to fight against the IDF. But this was not the group's most important and high-profile work. Thanks to intelligence gathered by IDF Unit 504 from anti-Hamas residents of Gaza, the Israeli army carried out a critical offensive operation against the terrorist organization. In the aftermath of these critical strikes, the Hamas terrorist organization lost 4 of its so-called commanders. The most striking detail was that the residents who did not want Hamas in Gaza helped in these critical attacks and provided important data. Hamas was unable to predict where the attack would come from, primarily due to the intelligence data reaching the IDF Air Force. The Israel Defense Forces reported that fighter jets struck and killed 3 Hamas terror cell commanders in overnight airstrikes in the Gaza Strip. The IDF said that the strikes were carried out following intelligence information provided by Shin Bet and Military Intelligence Directorate Unit 504. In addition to these striking airstrikes, an IDF drone struck a terrorist hideout in Nablus, based on data obtained by IDF Unit 504. An Israeli army drone struck terrorist targets in the Balata refugee camp in Nablus. Among those killed was Mahmoud al-Zufi, one of the leaders of Fatah, a Fatah faction that has reached an agreement with the Hamas terrorist organization and is now seen as another branch of Hamas. Al-Zufi was previously involved in planning attacks in Samaria and Jerusalem and was responsible for wounding 2 Israelis in an attack in Jerusalem in April. The IDF and Shin Bet have stated that al-Zufi actively recruited Balata youth to form a terror cell and provided them with explosive devices and weapons to attack Israeli military personnel entering the refugee camp. However, with the latest drone strike by the Israeli army, and thanks to critical intelligence data provided by the IDF's Unit 504, a fourth terror leader was eliminated. In the context of critical intelligence data provided by the IDF's Unit 504, Israel made another dramatic move in Gaza. It was reported that Nahal Brigade units detected a group of Hamas terror groups entering a building close to them in the Gaza Strip and called for an airstrike. The IDF said that the building was also used as an arms depot. Nahal Brigade units destroyed the terrorist nest after heavy strikes. The fact that this operation was carried out in the context of intelligence data provided by the IDF's 504th Division made this group even more prominent. Even Hamas has become seriously concerned about the work of this IDF intelligence unit. If we take a closer look at the work of this intelligence unit since the beginning of the war, the Hamas terrorist organization should indeed be concerned. As part of the IDF's efforts to evacuate Palestinians from northern Gaza during the ground offensive, Unit 504 made more than 30,000 calls to Gazan civilians, sent more than 10 million text messages, and sent more than 9 million recorded messages. This hard-working IDF intelligence unit also distributed nearly 4 million leaflets warning Palestinians of the dangers of staying in northern Gaza. In other words, this unit is one of the busiest and most effective groups in the Israeli army. And what other victories has the Israeli army achieved on the front lines in recent days thanks to the data obtained by this unit? 414 units of the IDF carried out a mind-boggling offensive operation thanks to the data provided by Unit 504. New footage released by the Israel Defense Forces shows the Border Defense Forces' 414th Unit launching attacks on Hamas observation posts in the Gaza Strip following their detection. The video also showed the unit detecting a Hamas tunnel. Some of the unit's female surveillance soldiers, known in Hebrew as Tatzpitanyot, were killed and taken hostage by Hamas during the October 7th attack on southern Israel. However, the unit's combat soldiers, both male and female, are still operating on the ground in Gaza, helping to identify Hamas positions, rocket and missile launch sites, and directing aircraft for strikes. In short, Israel is building a vast intelligence network in the Gaza Strip, destroying Hamas in almost